Oh, sorry, I didn't see you there. What's up, guys? It's me, Mr. Sour Motorsports. I'm here again, and I've got another video, another opinion piece that I want to share, and I want to start with. This is a disclaimer. This video is only for California car enthusiasts. California car enthusiasts only. Unless if you want to commiserate with us, I don't want to really hear out-of-staters' opinions, and I especially don't want to hear move out of state. So thank you very much. Let's move on with the video. So there's a couple core problems here with California car enthusiasts, and particularly a hot topic, which is out-of-state registration. This applies to modified cars that were made in US, USDM cars, as well as JDM imports are both popular venues, or rather maybe sources that lead to this out-of-state registration epidemic, some may consider it. So, people that are telling you to just register out of state and you're not going to have a problem, they're lying to you, basically. There is no way to completely skirt the system. At the end of the day, it is officer discretion, and if they notice you driving around and they notice your car, you're out of state reg, they will pull you over, or they can, I guess. Maybe they won't, but I do not give cops the benefit of the doubt, and they will pull you over. They will check, primary registration address and your driver's license and everything, and I really don't think most of us are in a position to get around it if a cop decides that they have a problem with you and that they don't like where your car is registered. And at the end of the day, this can lead to state ref, it can lead to getting your car impounded, and it can lead to all kinds of other problems, as any interaction with the police possibly can. So, the core philosophy here is out-of-state registration sucks. People promise it as a way that you can get away and have JDM imports, you can drive whatever you want, V8 swap your car, daily it, whatever, but at the end of the day, you are completely beholden, to whatever officers you might run into out there in public. And I don't know about you, this is a core philosophy for me. I should be able to drive my car anywhere, anytime, do anything I want in it, and not worry about it being, taken away from me, even for things out of my control, right? So that's why I keep my cars, unfortunately, compliant with California emissions requirements. I want to talk about a couple quick examples of people that I know. So, close friend in my Miata club, he has a modified ND2. I don't actually remember the year, maybe 21, 22, 23, somewhere, maybe, who knows? Anyways, it's not that modified, right? It's still stock emissions, stock intake. It's just got an exhaust, and he recently was state refed just down the road from me, basically, and it led to months of him not being able to drive his car because an officer decided his exhaust was too loud, basically, and they had no way they didn't have a decibel monitor, calibrated all that to prove it. All they have to do is file a state ref for you, and you are now not allowed to operate your car on the public motorway until you get that referee appointment or inspected. You are now beholden to the system for that appointment. So several months for him went by before he was able to put a stock muffler on there, even though he shouldn't have had to, get it inspected, and get his car back on the road. And ultimately, it was all because, officer discretion, right? Got another friend, right, but this time with an NA, who literally got a state ref because of lifter tick, a problem all of us are so familiar with, our lovely, noisy sewing machine engines. State refed because the cop, thought that it was lifter tick was a problem, or something like that, right? Actually, I guess now that I'm thinking about it, the real story here was that he was state refed for some kind of swap, I think, and went back to a 1.6 and ultimately, failed the referee inspection because the lifter tick, even though the car was completely stock. So sorry, that was my correction. He was popped for something else. Maybe, who cares, valid or not? It's not. But ultimately, he wasn't able to pass the state referee inspection because of lifter tick, and his car's been off the road for quite a long time now, because fixing that is not as simple as just bolting some parts on, right, to get to the point there. And carb, and getting your car bar swapped, it's ridiculously vague, right? They tell you that, okay, you can swap something in of a similar, type of car, so like a sedan to a sedan or whatever, has to be a newer year, I think same make potentially, I could be wrong. Point being, right, they just tell you all these vague guidelines and say you have to swap all the emissions equipment, right? But does that mean that you need the gas tank to swap, or does that mean you can modify things to work? And the replies I get from people that have been through this process is effectively, you better hope you get someone that is friendly towards you and that things look good enough, basically, because I don't think these things are completely defined to the letter of the law. However, you are still, completely culpable, right? If any officer decides that you are a problem in his or her eyes. So strict and vague, right? And then you have all these other problems of, like, let's say you somehow get a bar swap approved, you're not going to be able to modify the car further at that point without invalidating that status. And now you're flagged, essentially, in my opinion, if your car is a bar swapped approved, like, cops are gonna give you extra discretion, right? So let's go back to the point of out of state registration where I started. This is where people are always gonna say, well, just register out of state, but at the end of the day, and I've talked to a traffic attorney about this, you are still beholden to whatever the cop sees going on and considers the problem. And that means if they've noticed you driving around, they see the out of state plates, they don't think you're out of state, they will pull you over, and they will ask you to prove primary residence. And if you can't do that and your paperwork doesn't line up, you can have your car impounded, or you can have other problems, right? And you can have other fees. And, like, I don't know about you, but I do not have the time to be dealing with problems like that. I have a bunch of cars to build, and I would rather be building them, driving them, and hanging out with people than worrying about when and where I can do that stuff, because my car is a cop magnet, basically, and I have to worry about them taking it away from me at any second. So, and let's say you want to go legit, right? Let's say you import something and you want to really try to be California legal, because that's an option. You better have at least 10 grand and be ready to wait for a year for the one certified shop in California, GK or whatever, I forgot the name, G&K Automotive or something. Check out Top Rank Importers. They have a whole guideline on this. But anyways, there's only one shop that does this, and it's not, as transparent as I would like to see as, like, a guideline for people to do it themselves. And as far as I know, you're still beholden to leaving everything as it was in this now customized system to meet whatever smog regulation requirements you needed for your import. So I don't know, that doesn't sound like freedom to me. Freedom sounds like I drive wherever I want, whenever I want. If a cop pulls me over, I can, effectively prove that even if he does ref me, I'm going to the ref in my car. I'm not having to revert it, at least. So I still am running the risk, just like you and others, but I like knowing that the worst thing that could happen is I have to go spend my time at the ref and I can't drive my car, and not I'm having to tear it apart to try and get it back to somehow, hopefully pass, and then be back at the whim of whatever cop I run into in the future. I have one more story of a friend I have that I want to share, who was given a misdemeanor level charge for a modified steering wheel, just like I could get right here in my Miata. Yeah, they basically treat it as modifying, a crash safety system, and I think the law is angled towards dealers and people reselling cars, but still officer discretion to charge you with that. And he had to hire, legal representation and go to court to prevent himself from having this permanent mark on his record, because some idiot cop thinks that a modified steering wheel is worthy of that level of problem in your life, right? So why would you do it? Why are you going to go with the out-of-state registration and think you're smart enough to get around the system? I'm certainly not that brave. I guess more power to you if you're willing to, and maybe you feel like, well, I can get away with it, or I'm not going to get pulled over for it. Go for it. I'm not willing to, and I'm pretty happy because I have been pulled over and had every single one of my cars checked at some point or another out by cops. And I'm glad I didn't have to, have problems come from that, because I've stuck to this guideline that I've laid out for you, basically. So I just wanted to share that. And I go back to the point one more time. Don't trust anyone that tells you to just register it out of state. Ask them if they're dailying, a project car with, a swap or something out of state plates all around California. They're not. And if you're not able to drive your car whenever you want, I also don't want to hear really opinions about that either, because I rotate between my cars and I want to drive them wherever, whenever, anytime, any place. And the idea of not being able to do that is corny. So yeah, let's just leave it there. Thank you for listening to my video. Let me know what you think. I appreciate everybody who had some feedback on the last one, and I guess this one is more car specific, but just felt like talking about it today, and I'll see you for the next one as well. Peace.